Welcome to the Fempire podcast for women building empires where your health, relationships, and wealth rise together. Here we focus on what moves the needle the most. I am your host, Jessica Joy. Let's sharpen the axe and dive in. Welcome to the Fempire podcast. This is where women build empires with intention so that their health, their wealth, their relationships rise together. This is not about doing more. This is about focusing on the things that make the biggest difference, that move the needle the most, and that bring back to you the most ROI in health, wealth, relationships, your joy, your aliveness, your impact. This is for the women who they want to be on purpose. They don't want to settle. We don't want regrets. We're here to play big. We're here to operate as women in our power, but not in a way that we're burning out or sacrificing our health or relationships or any aspects. Rising together, playing big, let's go. So this exists because I wanted to create a conversation around this. As women, we are capable of creating anything we want. And the end goal isn't just the goal. It's how do you want to build it? Who do you want to become on the way there? How are you operating on the way there? And we don't want to be sacrificing our health on the way there. In fact, that can be a bottleneck when we do. We don't want to be sacrificing the quality and depth and connection in our relationships while we're building our mission and impact in business. So, high achieving women, we are capable. We can get the things done. But what do we choose to get done? That's what we need to be discerning on. It's cutting out the noise and focusing on the signal, looking at the 20% that moves the needle 80% and letting go of the things that don't move the needle so much in health, wealth, and relationships. So we can expand what's possible and feel better on the way. It's almost like leveraging simplicity. We focus on the needle movers while staying so alive. So this is an umbrella for ambition without burnout. This is about refinement. This is about using our feminine energy while getting into the masculine when we need it, but honoring both. And then using smart strategies. We're going to be bringing on experts that help you be discerning. And wow, that's a big needle mover. I should focus on that one. This I can let go. Here's how I can scale my business better. Here's how I can harness my health better. Here's how I can create so much depth and connection in my relationships and more ease. Okay. So, and operating from a sense of truly what's true for you. That's so important. There's an internal guidance system and honoring that as you go. So we're letting go of what doesn't move the needle, and we're focusing on signal, not noise, and having fun along the way. All right. So the 3 pillars: health, wealth, relationships. So we think of our health. Our body is an asset. For me, as I prioritized my health, it expanded what was possible. And I felt better along the whole ride, building my business and creating beautiful relationships with my family and friends and loved ones, and even business relationships. Your health is not optional. It can be an asset or it can be a bottleneck. Your body is your vehicle for life. And it is not about having great health and energy and performance and hormones, like great hormonal balance is not about doing more or having this perfect regimen. It is about focusing on the things that make the biggest impact and then making those things work for you energetically in your lifestyle. Okay. And so the things I will bring to the table will help you sharpen what you're focused on so you can let go of doing the things that don't really move the needle that much in your health and body. And this can be one of the biggest levers in your business and your leadership when you get your health and body dialed in. All right. We want your empire building to feel lighter, not heavier. Harness your health. Next, wealth. Wealth is built through leverage and scalability. Okay, so we need some smart strategies, okay, especially that work with our energetic capacity. I have to remind myself, I am a human, not a superhero. Like I have a superhero heart, superhero vision, but I have a human body and I am a female. I am not a machine. I am not, immortal. We have to work with our capacity and be choosy and discerning about, okay, yes, we can build wealth, but how can we build it in a leveraged way that creates more spaciousness, more simplicity? Okay, whether that's passive income, whether that's scalability in business or frankly both. Okay, this is not about grinding, this is about leveraging. Next is relationships. Success without connection, and I would say deep connection, there's a sense of hollowness. There's a sense of I'm missing something. And we don't want to look back on our lives and think, I wish I had spent more time with my people. I wish I had created better memories. Heck no, not happening here. We're not waiting till someday to make our relationships great and make those memories now. We'll be having conversations about improving relationships, making them just more exciting and fulfilling and rich, right? And how to create space for them. So a big principle you'll see in the podcast is something I call signal over noise, focusing on the needle movers. One of the biggest keys to productivity is not optimizing every little thing. It is about prioritizing, getting really good at prioritizing what moves the needle and then putting your energy toward that. The thing that gives you the biggest ROI. That's what the podcast really wants to harness, and having conversations with women about this, who are the women who want to play big, no regrets or no regrets, if you know the movie reference. All right. And a big part of that is focusing on signal. Okay. That's how you can build your empire faster in a way that it expands bigger, but with actually less effort. It is not about being a productivity machine. It is about being a priority and discerning woman. Boom. All right. So we will be exploring many things, but first I want to talk about how this podcast came to be. So I've been building my business, I would say, for the past 12 years, and started as a personal trainer in a gym, and then went on to start fitness blogging and creating my own programs and different things. Really started after my daughter was born. Okay, so 13 years ago. In my heart, I've always been a very driven person, and it's so adorable that growing up, I watched Rocky movies, and I'll never forget watching Rocky 4, and then I took my brother's boombox, and I carried it with me up to my bedroom, and I listened to the Rocky 4 soundtrack on my floor with like a comforter, and I fell asleep. And, I'm not obsessed with Rocky 4, but it's the concept of there's something within you that is very driven. There's something within you that wants to lean into your greatness and your potential, and it feels gross when you don't. There's a part of you that's like, could have been better. And this is not about burning yourself out or always feeling bad about yourself. Quite the opposite. This is about expanding what you can create while feeling amazing, while feeling more and more alive. Like your soul is on purpose. And we must take responsibility for the things we get to learn in order to create that. Okay, so that's what do I need to learn in scalable business? What do I get to learn in leveraging my health and wealth? And what do I get to learn to become better in my relationships? So that's a space for this podcast. And what you can expect from me is we will be having conversations where we want to be conscious of everything's coming up together, right? This isn't about, okay, this is how, like, if you just spend 2 years working harder than anybody else, then you'll be so much farther ahead. No, that's not how it works. And I remember hearing those stories. I would see things on social. If you do what most people wouldn't do for 2 years, it'll change the rest of your life. Well, guess what? I did that and it didn't. I would crush it with putting effort into my business, and the ROI would be meh. It would be mediocre. And then I remember so many times where, I was focused on, okay, how can I get the business to work? And, it would take up mental space while I was with my family. Now, not all the time. I'm actually really proud of how I've built my business, and I have great relationships with my family, and my health is great. And I only want it to get better. And the lever for me is exactly what building a Fempire is all about. Okay, so being more leveraged and discerning in how I'm putting my energy into those. So those are the conversations we're going to be having. I'm going to be bringing on experts who are in their zone of genius with what they're doing, whether that's building scalable business in feminine leadership, whether that's how you're operating in your relationships, or if you're attracting your primary partner, like how you're going to do that. This is about investing and like in wealth. The wealth piece of it is what I mean. So whether that's investment strategy, or whether that's leveraged scalable businesses. And then looking at health, looking at experts who, I obviously health is my zone of genius, but there will be women coming on that have specific specialties that we can learn from. All right. And we're learning from women who understand how it is to be a driven female in this world and don't want to sacrifice in any area. We can pivot, we can adjust, we can have push seasons, but the last thing we're going to do is look back on our life and be like, welp, my relationships and my health kind of suffered, but woohoo, my bank. That's not how we operate, right? All right. So we're going to be focusing on all of those things, along with identity, improvement, refinement, seasons of expansion, relationships, intimacy, boundaries, wealth strategy without burnout, focusing on how we can work with our nervous system while still playing a big game, but not burning ourselves out, and high leverage body optimization. This is so much about sharpening your edge. This isn't about fluff and motivation. This is about each episode, you will take at least one nugget that will sharpen your axe. 2, be more discerning about where you're putting your energy so you have more ROI and more joy and aliveness. Let's go. Okay. So I am so grateful that you're here and for the conversations that we're going to be having. Please engage. I want to hear from you. What's resonating? Continue the conversation, make requests, ask questions. Let's build this collective and this conversation so that not only are we building amazing fempires in our lives, but we're leading by example so that other women can do it too. So they have that lens to look through, okay, that everything is rising together. And truly, that's when our empire is the most impactful. Anyway, all right, so welcome to Fempire. Let's build with intention and rise together. We will see you on the next episode.